Hello everyone, today we're learning about ratios. Yes, ratios. So just to start this video off, we're going to be learning a few things about ratios. First and for all, you'll need to know different ways to write ratios, and for the purposes of this video, I'll be using this one. Something like that. But you can either write it that way, so it would be 3 to 6. You could write it as 3 to 6, or you could literally write it as 3 to 6. And these are the three ways to write it. Usually, this is the most common, but either way will work. So I'm just going to be using this one. So there are two different types of ratio. Part-to-part ratios, and part-to-whole ratios. So, with these two different types of ratios, we're going to start with the part-to-part ratios. So, part-to-part ratios are ratios that are not whole to other ratio that's not whole. So basically, a part-to-part ratio is not whole to not whole. And you forget that period. So here's an example. So we have a class. In the class's ratio for boys to girls is 2 girls to 4 boys. So this would be a part-to-part ratio because we have our class of whatever number the class is. And this is part-to-part because this is not something of something. These two both live in one world. They don't live one inside another. So, we would have our 2 girls for our 4 boys. Now we're going to be learning about how to scale this up and how to scale it down. So say our class doubles in size with the same ratio. We would want to have our old ratio, 2 girls to 4 boys, and we would just want to multiply both of them by 2 to get an even ratio, and then our new ratio would be 4 girls to 8 boys. That's our new class ratio. But say with our new 4 girls to 8 boy ratio, that seems big and you don't want it as big. So what you would just do is we can divide both of them by 4. And then once we do that, we can get 1 to 2. And that's a small little ratio for girl to boy. Just a small recap that if you're multiplying by something, you're scaling up. If you're dividing by something, you're scaling down. So here we have our new part-to-whole ratio. Our stand, let's say we have a hot chocolate stand in the middle of winter. And we need some more hot chocolate. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of milk in our hot chocolate. So we have our 2 beakers, and this is 2 cups full. And then we have our other beaker, and this is 1 cup full. So, if we needed some more hot chocolate out of this, we could just add some new liquid. It would still taste like some hot chocolate, and our new liquid would be milk. So yeah, it would all be easy to say, well, we can just add a cup to this, and another cup to that. But that wouldn't be very equal, because you'd just be making this one half hot chocolate, half milk, as this one is more hot chocolate and milk, and it's just not right. So, we're going to say that this would be a part-to-whole ratio of 1 cup of milk within 3 cups of liquid. That would be our part-to-whole ratio in this, but we could also say 1 cup of milk to 2 hot chocolates. So this is part-to-whole, and this is part-to-part. But still, to make this evenly, so we're adding our 1 cup of extra milk. So this is our 1 cup of extra milk, making this 3 cups. And if we want to add half of this, because we're adding half of this to it, we're going to have to add half of this to it, so that would be half a cup. So our part-whole ratio would be half a cup of milk to 1 and 1/2 cups of liquid. Our part-to-part ratio would be, let's add that extra half cup first. Our part-to-part ratio would be 1/2 of milk, 1/2 a cup of milk to 1 cup of hot chocolate. So those are 2 examples of part-to-part, part-to-whole, scaling up and scaling down ratios. We learned the 3 ways to write them, which, just a quick recap, are, let's do this. This works for part-to-whole and part-to-part ratios. You can say A to B, A to B, or A to B. So the simplest form of a ratio would be something more like 1 girl to 2 boys, although we had our original 4 to 8. A high form would be something more like this, where we got our old ratio and we brought it higher to 4.8. 4 to 8, I mean. And there's different reasons for people to do this, but either way, that's how you do if you need to scale up a ratio, and if you need to scale down a ratio to something smaller, more controllable. Hope you guys found this video educational in some form or fashion, and you learned about ratios. But right now, I'm just going to say that I hope you have a good time learning the game later in this TED Ed, and that you guys will find vocabulary not too confusing that will also be found later. And just hope you learn how to use ratios. Maybe this will come in handy sometime in your future life. Goodbye.